Hey guys, welcome to the No Decision Podcast. And I know what you're saying. Who is this guy? But it is me, Joy. Uh,
No. They know who this is.
Absolutely. So yeah, Wes is actually with me. But tonight I will be starting covering the first two rounds. Are you ready, Wes?
Ding, ding.
Okay, first round, we finally got it, Wes. That whole shenanigan that we were doing last week wasn't really worth it because literally the next day we got the news. AJ Fury signed, sealed, delivered.
Yes,
Thoughts, Wes?
sir. Yes,
Thoughts?
sir. I mean, I think we're 0 and 2 when it comes to skirmishes. So, for those listening on the West and Joy Show Network, we also run another podcast called the Run It Back Podcast. Where we
Hmm.
talked about, or I talked about a story where I was arguing with Joy over Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc, only to be outdone by someone named George Russell. And last week we had a skirmish over whether AJ should be taken seriously and whether, this means anything and, you know, all this stupid stuff, only for us to be like, oh, it's happening now.
Mm.
So
Absolutely.
no more swimming on the beach and having a little layer there, Tyson.
Yeah, absolutely. And
So
yeah, I mean, yeah, like you said, Wes, like,
bringing lube, maybe. Sorry, Joy.
well, yeah, that's an essential, right? That's one of his GQ essentials, so he needs to be there. I mean, yeah. So I think Tyson Fury will start taking this seriously when it kind of gets near that. I'm pretty sure AJ is in the gym already. Just it doesn't seem like there's not a day that doesn't go by where he's not in the gym. But yeah, also, uh, this rumor has it it's gonna be held in not Abu Dhabi, in
Syria, Saudi Arabia.
yeah, Saudi Arabia. Yeah, I mean, how do we feel about that, Wes? It's not gonna be.
I like it. I like it. That's
Absolutely.
supposed to be the fight of 2021, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And this could be the fight that brings all the boxing fans together. It doesn't matter if you are a full-on old school,
Mm.
you know, hit and not get hit kind of guy, or a let's go throw 300 punches in a round. Not that those are realistic numbers, but you get what I'm trying to say.
Right, right,
This is the fight that'll bring everyone together, a big mega fight, in a place that bleeds money, no pun intended.
right, right.
And it's basically two of the biggest names in the sport, not named Canelo Alvarez.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree with you. Right, we've spoken about like how big AJ and Tyson Fury's name have become. Not only that, but these two are the kings in the heavyweight division, right? Which back then, boxing's heavyweight division was the crown jewel. Um, and now it seems as though we're finally getting the fight that we want, right? I guess the next step is to get Bud versus Spence, but yeah, that'll be a whole another conversation when it does happen, right? So
I
yeah,
mean, Bud versus Spence and everybody versus everybody in 168.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so yeah, I mean, boxing now has a lot more talent, and it feels like it's growing every single day. So I'm glad, and hopefully we get the popularity to rise as well, right? So yeah, any more thoughts, Wes? AJ Fury.
Set the location, set the prices.
I was actually about to. I forgot to mention. Ask you, Wes, if this is gonna be held in Saudi Arabia. We would have to like stay up or like wake up early, right, to kind of watch this fight. I mean, I
I
imagine
don't
it's
know
gonna be
about
held.
early. I would
Right.
probably say like around, well, so for our listeners, we are located in the Midwest of the United States. So think Chicago,
Hmm.
Illinois. And for us, generally those fights for like AJ and those Fight Island for UFC, those are usually like a little bit earlier in the day.
Right.
So like in the afternoon,
Right.
I
Right.
think. And I forgot the when was the last time I watched the fight at Fight Island, but yeah, I think it was
One of AJ's fights, right? It was held.
no, Fight Island's UFC.
Oh. Oh. Okay. Okay. No. No. But I'm
But
saying like you asked like when's the last time you saw.
yeah, but the last time I watched AJ, I had to like have the stream running since like 10 in the morning.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
And Matchroom literally will throw
right,
like a whole thing.
right,
Like you're gonna be there the whole day, basically.
right.
But
Absolutely.
yeah, and I would assume so that it would be like a earlier fight, or
Mm.
if they just like make them fight in the day, which would not be a good idea because then it'll be freaking hot.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I would imagine that yeah, it would be like nighttime in Diria, and then like it would be like in the afternoon here in the United States, so like 12, 1, 2, 3 Central Time. So that's like 4 p.m. Eastern, 10, 11, 12, 1 in the afternoon on the Pacific coast. So yeah, I mean, it would be an early day at the office for us if that happens, Joy.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, there you guys have it. AJ and Fury is signed. Let's just get it on, right? It probably yeah, it'll probably be the biggest boxing fight that's ever made if the fans are kind of allowed to go into the gate. But yeah, we'll see. So let's move on to round two. Canelo versus Billy Joe Saunders, right? So these two have been kind of taking a jab. Well, Bill Joe Saunders more, but they've been kind of taking jabs at each other, saying who's the best middleweight fighter in boxing. But it's announced, and some small details here that saying that it could take place in Dallas, in front of fans, right? So they might allow fans to watch this fight, which they should because it's a massive fight, especially with Canelo, right? He just draws a lot of fans, especially Mexican fans, right? So your thoughts, Wes?
Well, they drew fans in the last fight in Dallas, which was Spence and Garcia,
Garcia, right?
right? So there will be probably a bigger capacity, given how vaccines are trying to be moved as quick as possible and
Right,
this, that, and the other. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to May 8th.
right,
This is the most active we've seen Canelo in a long time. Nobody knows on this side of the pond who Billy Joe Saunders is.
right.
And of course, this is part of a unification run for both guys.
Hmm.
So it would be interesting to see who's going to come out on top because um, they say that BJS is going to provide a bigger challenge than Callum Smith or
Yeah,
whomever else in that division. So I don't know, but for me, we have to wait until they actually get in there.
yeah, absolutely. And like you said, Wes, I love that you pointed that out because Canelo is really active. Like it's only been what, a month apart, 2 months apart from like actually from his last fight.
It's going to be 3.
3 months, right, right. So I mean,
So
for
yeah.
some fighters, that's an entire training camp there, right? So after the fight, he probably just jumped into the training camp for Billy Joe Saunders, right? So my
Well,
goodness,
yeah. I mean, when he blown up Callum Smith, you could say that he went back in there, and
yeah,
then not too long after he was fighting Avni Yildirim,
right, exactly, right.
which I mean, let's
Oh
not
wait,
talk about that anymore. But other than the guy falling off his bike during the J Balvin concert, uh, and now he's gonna do it again with
right.
Billy Joe Saunders, which is probably better than both of those two.
Do you think it's still gonna be Jay Balvin in the entrance
I
or?
mean, they're friends,
Oh,
right?
okay, okay,
So I mean, granted, these performances are not always the same,
right, right.
right? Like at one point, Floyd had Lil Wayne, and then the next time it was Justin Bieber.
And just
All
to
of a
be,
sudden, so I mean, it can
I
happen. Anything
forgot
can
about
happen.
that. I forgot
Anything can
about that.
happen. Anything can happen. So I'm not worried about the performance of before the fight. I'm more worried about the performance in the fight.
Right, absolutely, absolutely, and I think you're also correct, Wes. I think Bill Joe Saunders is gonna be a little bit more of a difficult task for Canelo, but I think we've also kind of shared. I mean, we've shared a lot about like our opinions on Canelo. We think he is the pound for pound king of the world. Uh, but yeah, I'm interested to see how good Bill Joe Saunders can be because this is gonna be his toughest test, right? We've spoken about Bill Joe Saunders before. We like him. I mean, I like him. I think he's a pretty good fighter, but he still gets hit a lot. especially with if you are able to sneak a right hand with him, and that seems to be Canelo's favorite punch at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, uh, Billy Joe is more what from what I've seen. He seems to be more of a fight me and I'll fight you back
Yeah,
kind of guy,
yeah,
while Canelo's more like let me try and pick out whatever weakness I can see right away,
right.
capitalize, and keep finding more as they come out there.
Hmm.
But yeah, styles make fights.
Styles
We
make
don't
fights.
know what's going to happen until they actually step in the ring. So, like I said, come May 8th, I'll be very excited. Thankfully, that will be a regular day at the office for us because that is a local time zone.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And yeah, styles make fights, Wes. Right. That's why I'm more intrigued about Canelo fighting Plant if it ever does happen, because the way I see it, Plant's style should fit more against Canelo. But yeah, Billy Joe Saunders is more about I'll stand with you if you stand like in the middle of the ring, which is dangerous against Canelo. But yeah, any more thoughts, Wes, on Canelo BJS?
No, can't wait for it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So we're gonna take a quick break, you guys. I'm gonna hand off the fighting to my trainer. This is probably gonna be the only time where the trainer steps in to fight for his fighter, um, in the ring. And so yeah, we're gonna switch positions, and we'll see you guys in a couple minutes. Well, probably right.
Welcome back to the No Decision Podcast. It is I, Wes Barra, and you just had our guy, Joy Villapando, lead it off. Hey, 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 let's give him a round of applause for opening up the gym. Let's go. I knew I could trust you with the keys, my man. But let's recap some fights here. So, our first fight we're going to talk about tonight is the light heavyweight fight that took place on Saturday in Mother Russia.
Mm.
The man in the division, Artur Beterbiev, entering his fight at 15-0-0 versus Germany's Adam Dines, 19-1-1. This was a fight that took place over ESPN free TV. Early day at the office for me, Joy.
Mm.
12 rounds, light heavyweight for Artur's IBF and WBC titles. As I was watching that fight, I'd never seen Artur Beterbiev really. And gosh, I was impressed. He knocked Dines down in the first round, controlled the fight pretty much throughout, and took him out in the 10th. And
Yeah.
Beterbiev is like on the wrong side of 30.
Oh, absolutely. I was gonna point that out, Wes. I just found out this dude's age, and I'm shocked because he looks a lot younger.
He's
Than
crisp. He's
Right.
very crisp. And I guess that's what happens when you work out in, I think it's Top Team,
Right.
or I forgot the gym, but it's where GSP is at. So UFC fans don't get mad at me
Yeah.
for forgetting the
I
gyms.
think he resides in Montreal,
Yeah,
Canada.
he
Right.
resides in Montreal and he's
Right.
best friends with GSP,
Right.
George St. Pierre.
Well, there you go.
And, like he really controlled that fight and he now wants to go out and get the other belts. He said in an interview with Mark Kriegel that what would make him very happy in the light heavyweight landscape is to have 4 belts. And he has 2. The other 2 are still out there. So Joy,
They're vacant, right? Yeah. So
yeah, they're vacant, and I think Joe Smith. So our countryman Joe Smith is going to be fighting for one of those belts.
yeah.
And how does this, set up the landscape in the light heavyweight division? Given that Artur Beterbiev just ding donged Adam Dines. So ding dong alert. Beterbiev improves to 16-0 while Adam Dines falls to 19-2. So yeah, how does this help the light heavyweight landscape?
Oh, one quick, Wes. There was a moment in the fight where Beterbiev and Dinas was just exchanging punches, but it didn't seem like it was affecting Beterbiev at all. But
No,
like,
I
like
know what you're talking about. I was
yeah,
just like, what in the world is going on here?
I will say Beterbiev reminds me of Triple G just a little bit, right? Like he'll take all the punches you could throw at him, but he'll just return one bigger one. But yeah, to answer your question, Wes, there doesn't seem to be anyone that can challenge Beterbiev at the moment, right? In that division, because we've seen the light heavyweight division. It's not filled with big names, right? And Beterbiev seems to be the biggest name in the light heavyweight division. The the thing is, right? Like there's just other than Smith, Bivol, there isn't just a lot of big names that could challenge him. So I wouldn't be
Jean
surprised.
Pascal.
John Pascal as well. I wouldn't be surprised if he does take pretty much. He makes the belts linear, right? Like he just takes all of them. So yeah, I think the landscape is pretty much set for Beterbiev to take, right?
Oh, absolutely. And I will also admit one of my favorite up and coming guys is in the light heavyweight division. I think he's a top 10. Joshua Buatsi out of
Mm.
the UK, part time the Zone host. So shout out to the boy Joshua Buatsi. But
Hey,
yeah, no, yeah, I could see Beterbiev actually making it lineal. I would love to see Joe Smith Jr. give him a challenge.
mm.
And then of course, there's guys like John Pascal. There's Badu Jack, who we seen in the Mike Tyson card.
Yeah,
Still got it,
still got
you
it.
know. And yeah, I'm interested to see. And the funny thing, Joy, is that there was a question that was asked of Beterbiev.
Mm.
If this particular fight came along, would he take it?
Ooh.
And I believe, from what I remember, he kind of gave a bit of a non-committal answer. But that particular fight happened to be the super middleweight champion of the world, Canelo Alvarez.
Mm.
But let's not focus on that right now. Congratulations to Artur Beterbiev
Yeah,
for beating the brakes off of Adam Dynas, who was game.
yeah,
He
but
almost went the distance with him, but
yeah,
Beterbiev showed why he's still a boss in the division.
absolutely, absolutely.
Round 4, we're going to cover one of my guys, Lawrence Okoli.
Mm.
15-0-0 versus Krzysztof Glowacki of Poland, 31-2-0.
Right.
12 rounds to zone for the WBO title, cruiserweight, vacant.
Right.
And Okoli actually controlled the fight from the beginning. He was
Mm.
worth all the hype, and he KO'd Glowacki in the 6th round. He could not beat the count. It was a very clean shot to the dome. Momentum. It was a pure ding dong alert.
Right.
But other than that, it was a very beautiful fight by Lawrence Okoli. So Joy, WBO champion Lawrence Okoli, 16-0-0 now, while Glowacki falls to 31-3-0. Cruiserweight landscape. Is he the next best thing? Is he the man?
Ooh. Yes. I think he is. It was a stunning display, right? But I mean, we also have to, put into factor here that his opponent was put on there for the very last moment, right? And the last time Glowacki fought was, I think, in 2019, right? So like, yeah, it was quite a long time. So yeah, but I do think that he kind of rules this division as well. This is one of those divisions where there isn't a lot of big names, Wes, right? We've kind of spoken about this. Like boxing seems to have divisions where you have the biggest names right now: welterweight, heavyweight, cruiserweight. It's the one in between light heavy and heavy, which yeah, it's kind of confusing if you're new to boxing, but yeah, this is one of the divisions where, I mean, the top 10 fighters I couldn't name off the top of my head, right? And so if cruiserweight is where he's gonna stay, which I don't think so, I think he's actually gonna move up. I think there's probably gonna be opportunities for him to move up. Another UK fighter, fighting in the heavyweight division. Could you imagine? But yeah, other than that, Maurice Breedris is probably his next target,
Breedis.
right?
Maris Breedis. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's actually a very good matchup to make, I feel.
Right.
And his promoter, Eddie Hearn, I think is more than capable of making that happen. And what I love about Lawrence Okoli is that he has a very, very wonderful story
Mm.
and very, very high expectations of himself. His story, so at one point he said that during the London Olympics, so 2012,
Mm.
that and this is a big guy. He's 6'5",
Right.
but he said back in 2012 he was obese. He was working at a McDonald's,
Right.
not too far from where the Olympic Games were being played, and he saw Anthony Joshua get glory in the Olympics.
Right.
And both guys happen to be British Nigerian, and Okoli thought to himself that, yeah, I can do that too. So he got in the gym. Not too much of an amateur record, but dude, the guy is a champion in 16 professional fights.
Yeah.
Amazing. And he's in great shape.
Yeah.
He uses that story to fuel his fire, because a lot of the people thought that he worked with at McDonald's didn't think it was possible. They thought he was delusional.
Right.
But no, he did it. And he said that he wants to become a heavyweight fighter.
Right.
His fellow countryman happens to reign supreme in Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua.
Right.
So it's kind of like, oh my gosh, is Lawrence Okoli really the next best thing? And if so, you got to give props to Eddie Hearn for finding such a talent.
Exactly. Right.
And he's a medalist himself, Lawrence Okoli.
Exactly. And I mean, he kind of has the same stature as Anthony Joshua, right? Maybe Anthony Joshua is a little bit more muscular. But yeah. Lawrence Okoye is like, he's tall, he's long. I will say he needs to work a little bit more on his inside game. Like right now, he's using his length to his advantage, using the jab, using straight punches instead of looping hooks, which I love, by the way. But yeah, it seems as though like he needs to work on his like inside game, and then he could really, because a lot of the heavyweight fighters, like probably on other than Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, and Anthony Joshua, like they're more inside fighters, right? Like Andy Ruiz, he'll get on your inside. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting, right? I think we probably have another star coming to the heavyweight division and probably making a huge splash, right?
I can't wait. Of course, I would prefer the next best thing in the heavyweight division to be American. But hey, these three guys are
Deontay had his time.
I mean, there has to be life after Deontay, right?
Right, exactly.
But other than that, shouts to Lawrence Okoli and Artur Beterbiev for getting their wins.
Right.
Keep going, gentlemen. And we've reached the end of our show. Very quick one. 4-rounder, but I wanted to make a quick announcement. There will be a lineup change moving forward in the No Decision podcast. You heard Joy open up the gym. What we're going to be doing from now on is actually splitting the reps. So Joy actually has a lot of experience in analyzing and breaking down the fight game. And I thought it would be best if I could have more of his word as opposed to just me dominating the whole show. As far as I love covering and writing about it,
right.
It doesn't hurt to have more of that actual physical extra set of eyes to help break down film and have a little bit more insight to it. And that's the point of the Wes and Joy Show Network. We want both of our voices to be heard. Right. And yeah, so moving forward, you're going to see Joy and I take rounds. And and I hope that's going to become more enjoyable on your end. I am not going anywhere. I'm here to stay, but I'm here to also help make our shows better. And this is one of the ideas that we've come up with. I hope it's something that you all can get on board with. And we will catch you all next week. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. But for what it's worth, if you come back, Joy and I, the both of us, not just me, we'll have a fresh set of rounds for you. But until then, enjoy the March Madness. If you're eligible, get your vaccines. Be well. And if you like racing cars, go check out our other podcast, the Run It Back podcast with Joy and I, and have a great night.